Okay. Okay. So the gastric glands of the fundus of the body, fundus and body, we have these mucous neck cells, and they secrete a very thick mucus, which is very alkaline, and it protects the deeper gastric pit. We have parietal cells, and these secrete hydrochloric acid, extremely strong. It also secretes gastric intrinsic factor. We'll talk about that later. Well, you'll talk about that in physiology, actually. So we have chief cells, zymogenic. So that has to do with enzymes. And these secrete pepsinogen, which is will be activated when exposed to acid into pepsin, which will break bonds between amino acids. So this is sort of what it looks like. I hope we have, no we don't. Okay. So here's the mucosa. Okay. This is the epithelium here, and we're going to go into these gastric pits here. And the different cells that we just talked about are in these gastric pits. You see where mucosa is going to sort of plug these so that the acid can't get back down and eat these cells up. Now, so deep to the gastric pit, we have the lamina propria, which is just connective tissue, and then a muscularis level. Then we have submucosa, and that's where your vein and arteries are going to be. We have the three muscular layers, and then the serosa on the outside. Here's a little larger picture. We have your mucous neck cells. Those are going to be in the neck here, right? The parietal cells are embedded in the epithelial tissue here. Chief cells here, and the whole thing is called the gastric gland. And up here, this is called the gastric pit. And here's the enteroendocrine cell. These are the cells that are going to signal the next part of the gastrointestinal system as to what is coming. Okay? So here's your enteroendocrine cell. It's a messenger system, so that the next part of your alimentary canal knows what's coming so it can prepare for it. So the small intestine, this is the longest portion of the alimentary canal. It's the site of most enzymatic digestion and absorption. It has three subdivisions. These are pretty easy. You just have to learn the names. This is duodenum. This is about 9 inches. The jejunum is about 13 inches, and the ileum is the rest of the 25 feet. The duodenum is for, it's a chamber, and it's for neutralizing the bolus, now it's a bolus, from stomach, right, and adding, if necessary, bile. Sodium bicarb from the pancreas. That's for neutralizing. The jejunum is for further neutralization, and it's different because, I guess they named it neutralization because the wall of the jejunum is stronger because it has a higher acidity than the ileum. The ileum, now it's all been neutralized, so the ileum doesn't need to protect itself from the acid. So we have high acidity going into the duodenum and a lesser acidity in the jejunum, and then this will be fairly neutral. So the innervation of the small intestine is sympathetic and parasympathetic. We have the vagus nerve and the splanchnic nerves. And that's to, start it or stop it. The duodenum will receive digestive enzymes and bile. And the duodenum, comes off the stomach and it makes a left-hand turn. It's just this segment, right? It's got a bile duct, bile coming in here, and then the pancreas is this long organ here, and this will join this duct, and then we have and then they secrete their juices in here as needed. Okay? The sphincters control the entry of bile and pancreatic juice, so we have obviously sphincters everywhere. So here's a better picture of it. We have the liver here. All the liver cells make bile. They collect that bile in the right and left hepatic ducts. Hepatic ducts will go into the common hepatic duct right here, and that will retroflex up here into the cystic duct, and it will collect bile. Okay? Left and right hepatics, common hepatic, cystic, okay, and into this, it's just a storage vessel. Now, when it secretes, it's going to come down the cystic duct into the bile duct, right? And this is going to join, well, it's going to come into this ampulla here, this hepatopancreatic ampulla, right? So that's going to join with this pancreatic duct, right? And they're going to secrete together here as needed. So this can stop and let bile in, this can stop and let bicarb in, or they can go together. But they join into this ampulla, and both of them can be added at the same time. So the duct on the inside of the duodenum is called the duodenal papilla, major duodenal papilla. This is the mucosa of the inside of the gallbladder. It's not significant. The stomach will be attached here. You need to know all of these things. You need to know left and right, common hepatic, cystic, bile duct, pancreas here, tail of pancreas, head of pancreas, pancreatic duct. Okay? See, it also has an accessory pancreatic duct just in case this one gets clogged, which can happen if you have a stone or a bile stone. You've heard of what are they called? I forget, the stones that'll come down here. So you have this accessory duct. suppose. I don't know what its actual function is. Here's the superior mesenteric artery. You can see through the okay. And then the inferior would be, do they have it? Maybe it comes up here. Maybe this is the inferior here. Okay, is this? Okay. So when it goes from ascending to transverse, it makes a right angle here called the right colic flexure. Colic is another word for hepatic. We can call it the hepatic flexure. It makes it easier. The left colic flexure is also called the splenic flexure. I like calling it hepatic flexure and splenic flexure. It's more identifiable that way. And that's what you need to know on this particular slide. The anus has an internal valve, a rectal valve here. This is the rectum, this whole thing here. This is the levator ani muscle. You can feel that if you pinch your anal sphincter. Here's the anal canal going in here. These little, not the ridges, but the bellies are called anal sinuses. So if these were in the brain, they'd be called, remember, sulci and gyri. So this would be gyri, this would be sulci. Anal sinuses, and then the top parts, the ridges, are the anal columns. The external anal sphincter is here. This is the conscious control.